Hello and welcome to the Become Your Magic Power Hour, where we meet here from Monday through Friday from 12 to 1 p.m. in order to what? Get connected to the source. God is always the source in which greatness can flow, right? And so as long as we're plugged into Him, we can deliver on the promise on our breath. And so I show up so that I can be in purpose, right? Be a mission, be on mission. And so you show up so that we can extract what we need in order to keep on moving. So what is it that you need a refill on so that you have the capacity to what? To make the difference, to be that special piece. So I'm waiting for you guys to start tuning in. I guess I could get something done. Write that down, baby. Much better. But yes, give you guys some time. If you guys are dealing with the storm that is coming through, oh my God. So, as you can see, it is it feels really nice outside. Even though the wind is blowing and it seems rapid paced than normal, even though stuff is flying around, when you literally go outside, it feels so good. It's not too hot. It's not too cold. The rain is stopping on and off. But I woke up today and looked out my window and realized that my little, my tent, nothing little about it, right? My tent, my studio had blown away, not out of the yard, but basically in the back of the yard. So it is all broken. Let's just say that. It's all broken. I wouldn't say it's all broken. We was able to sever and take the pieces apart. I mean, it's just not in the functional condition that it was in yesterday. Let's say that. As long as you have all the pieces, all the parts, you can always fix it back up. But unfortunately, it's not right now. Hello, how are you, Danielle? How are you? But yes, as I was saying, I'm going to take this time to share. We are only 3 minutes in. And so as we know in the beginning, I like to, if this is your first time tuning in to the Become Your Magic Power Hour, I like to be very clear on what it is when we come here, when we show up here, when we are actually showing up at the Power Hour. It is about us realizing that in order for us to move, in order for us to be who we were called to be, we need to refill our souls, our seeds of thought, our mind, and just those things that carry us, right? And so becoming your magic power hour is recognizing that you are a supernatural force. And so when you think about magic, it means supernatural force. And so being able to recognize what makes you a force to be reckoned with by actually looking over all those things that we hide behind and recognize that it actually instilled in those qualities that allow us to be unstoppable. It actually instilled those abilities that we hide from. And so becoming your magic is about recognizing that you already have everything you need. You are the force to be reckoned with. And all you have to do is apply it. Apply it by making sure that you get the refills in life that is going to benefit the desires and the dreams that you have for yourself. So we got to put ourselves in the rooms and the spaces and the places that rise up to meet us, that compliment us, that co-sign the we that we want to be, right? And so a lot of times when you're going on the journey of not knowing exactly what it is you want to do or trying to figure it out as you go, it is always awesome to be in the room with other people. It is always awesome to get that encouragement from one another, because it's not me telling you, it's us coming together and actually looking over our life and being real authentic with the conversation. And so at the end of every hour, like I say, I always go back to find out what is it that God wants me to know, right? Because we are just being used. We are being used with our God pieces, and it is our responsibility to use what we're giving on ourselves first. And that's what the I Choose Me is all about, is recognizing that what you have to offer is first needed with you. And so you got to figure out who you are in order for you to be able to be who you were called to be. I have to figure out what makes me tick in order to make sure I get the things that I need in order to tick, right? And so life is about being authentic with the you that you want to be, not the you that everybody else sees for you, not the you that everybody has dreams of you, not the you that your mama wanted you to be, or your daddy wanted you to be, or your godmama, your auntie, your uncle, their boss. The you that you see for yourself, and making sure that you are intentional about getting what you need so that you can become and walk in that life that you want, right? And the life that you want could just mean peace of mind. How many people would buy some peace of mind, right? How many people would buy some I would say a break? How many people would buy a break, right, from the reality of today, of tomorrow? How many people will buy that opportunity to take a trip? Or how many people I know so many that are going through the pandemic in a different mindset, because they may be used to traveling, right? And right now with the pandemic is high, volumes, it's scary. And so that freedom they used to have is no longer available to them. And so it can make them feel anxious, right? It can make them feel outside of their norm. And I think that's what God wants us to do. He wants us to feel a little bit separated from the normal us so that we can tap into the us that he needs us to see, right? We need to be separated from the things that were distracting us on our assignment. And so we have been enjoying and having so much fun in life, right? But how much work have we really been doing? How much have we really clocked into ourselves? How much doing and compared to complaining have we done up to this date? That's the question that we often never ask ourselves, but it's very important in deciding where we're headed and who we will become, right? It's important to know, what do I see for myself? If it's important to be authentic and real about where we are and say, well, you know what? This life that I created, I love every piece of it. I wouldn't change a thing. If that's your story, then kudos to you. You need to write a book, because there are so many people who are needing some tools so that they can what? So that they can get past those humps in life. And so that's why I show up, because I know that, like me, we all can use a little bit of a push. We all can use a whole lot of encouragement, because we got enough people who talk us out of our dreams. We got enough people who doubt who we can become. We got enough people that don't believe in our magic, right? And so if we can find the group of people that will say, I don't care what nobody else say, go after that thing. If you want it bad enough, then set a plan in motion and stick to it, right? Because everything that you actually work toward, I can assure you, you will have. And so it's about the action step that you take. And it starts with how grateful you are for where you are. It starts with how grateful you are for who you see yourself being, right? It starts with you. It definitely starts with you. It definitely starts with you. Hey, Melissa. I see we probably got somebody who I can't see. Hello, sis. Was that Melissa too? Because, if you're in my private group, I can't actually see who's saying what. Hello, Sonia. How are you? We do buy breaks. It's called vacation. Exactly, right? Those are the breaks breaks we buy. And you know why it's so important? I thought it was so hilarious. Why I started to realize why, some people take vacation. They be like, I'm not going to go nowhere. I'm going to sit home. And you realize that you never really went on vacation, because when you're home, you're going to find a million things to do. You're going to find a million ways to get distracted. You're going to find a million ways to not actually rest, right? Because we talked about the waiting, right? The waiting is the resting. And so sometimes when you worked as hard as you worked, even on that time when you're supposed to take care of you, we got so many other things that we're thinking about on our rest time. And so we don't get the refills we need. And so even on a vacation, we go back in just as tired and drowned, maybe because we didn't get that joy out of that piece, you know what I mean, out of that time in our life when we so-called take a break. So we got to be real careful about how we take breaks, and that we are resting in those break times, and that we're not overthinking life. We're not overthinking everything, right? That's right. You got to hire yourself. That's the bottom line. And so, we're 10 minutes in, and normally only start the topic in a 15-minute hour. For those who are regulars, know that they got the first 15 minutes to get in. And after that, it's smooth sailing, right? And so today our topic is going to be about gratefulness, right? What it means to actually sit in that, and how can we start forming practices that allow us to catch ourselves in the moments that we are easily disappointed, and we lose that sense of gratefulness, right? Because we can always find something to be grateful for, even in the midst of the storm, right? So, I got that topic today because when I looked out the window and my tent had flown, I was so frustrated and so agitated and so like, I could have took it down, right? I could have listened to my husband when he was like, "Oh, you can't leave it up in the wind," right? And I'm like, "Well, it got the nets, it's fine." Yesterday I thought about taking out the sides, right? And so because I didn't get an action to those instincts, I had to sit in that part of me feeling like, "Oh man, something else," right? Because that's what we tell ourselves. We give ourselves a reason to complain, right? We give ourselves a reason to live in a moment that's over. And so I just had to immediately be conscious enough to get out of my own feelings and stop thinking bigger than the moment. Stuff happens. You missed the sign. You didn't listen. The tree fell down in the forest. Okay, that's on you. So ownership is the key, right? Not displacing energy, not being stuck in a moment, but owning the moment, owning the situation, owning those times and parts in your life when you are really frustrated, and you realize, man, I'm over here frustrated, feeling ungrateful for something as little as that, right? And so I was like, well, those are the ways that we become more conscious, to start changing our thoughts, right? To start actually being intentional about how we show up for ourselves, what energy we going to choose, right? Because I'm ready to hire myself. Life is moving the way I'm planning for it to move, right? Not that I'm waiting for it to move, but I'm in action for the things that I want, right? And so what if the storm comes? As long as you got all the pieces, guess what? You can always build again. You can always get that thing back, but you can't get that moment in time that you wasted feeling sad, feeling somber, feeling like, woe me, right? And so it's about us snapping out of the moment a whole lot sooner than we normally do, right? And so I was able to snap out of the moment because I have been in my meditation, in my conscious. Doesn't mean that I'm perfect, right? Because the flesh of me is so imperfect. Let me tell you. Those are the things that create those perfect parts of ourselves, right? Because your flesh is to serve notice to your spirit, right? And so my flesh had to remind me that, my spirit had to remind my flesh that that's not a big deal. It had to remind my emotions that it's not even worth it. And so we can stop sitting in things and allowing the things to change our whole mood. One thing can change your whole day, because you forgot to be grateful of the million other things that went right. And so if we focus always on the one wrong thing and never spend the time focusing on the million right things, we will always be distracted by the less thans in our life instead of the overflow that we have been given, right? And so being conscious and living in a grateful state of mind always will keep you sane. It will keep you healed, right? Because we break our own selves. A lot of times the stuff that we go through, we do it to ourselves because we haven't dealt with those little things in life that don't really matter. And because we allow stuff to build, we always break, right? And so today I was looking in my book. And as I was looking in my book, going through some keepsake boxes. Rondell woke up this morning, and so he was all in looking for something. I don't know what he was looking for, but he was in all the keepsake boxes, which got me easily distracted. As I say, I often have that problem. So I'm easily distracted. I'm looking through boxes. I'm seeing old pictures, and that immediately changed my mood. It really did. It really, really did. And so him distracted me with, do you know what this is? And now he's looking in all the boxes for this and this and that. I'm getting reminded of all the things that make me grateful. I get a reminder of all the things that fill us up in order to be who we were called to be. And if we are ever in those moments where life just does it, I mean, I don't care how small it is, because the tent is very small. The tent falling and flying, that's so small in the scheme of life, right? But it doesn't matter. We still react, Somebody in their field is very small, but we still automatically react because we are always in that moment. And most times we're not conscious in the moment. We're just feeling it out. And we have to get in control of our feelings so that we can actually walk it out in a better way. So we can actually change and transform in the ways that we really see ourselves going. And so I think that God and life will always tap you on the shoulder and say, okay, you still got some work to do. Okay, you still got some things to focus on. Okay, you still got to figure out that it doesn't really matter. It was just right then. It's over. And so guess what? As I was looking through my box, which is why I created the topic, I found this book. I don't even know. Honestly, I cannot make out I really can't make out who actually gave me their signature, but this book was written and given to me in, I guess, 2016. And I was reading a message, and it says, your dream has become one for many women. Your words of healing are bigger than you know. Hope you can use this to continue to inspire, motivate, and build up a unity and bond of sisterhood that can't be broken. You are truly the Maya Angelou of our time. Love you. And I can't make out who did it. But as I looked in it, I realized that I made this a grateful book. That I started writing in this one in 2016. And so when I say that we have access to so many tools that allow us to actually find ways to sit and be grateful. Now, this tool of writing down the things that you are grateful for is super huge. It really helped me back in I wrote these down. It looks like I started in September 17th of 2016 is when I wrote on this first. And I have a whole bunch of books of this, but every so often when I'm getting in that space or in that place. So that means in 2016, I needed to remind myself of the things that make me grateful. I needed to write it down so that I can always fill myself up with the things to appreciate no matter what was going on. And so like always, I was watching Oprah, free TV, not free TV, but she wasn't cable. You had to pay your electric bill and have a TV. But basically free TV in a time where I was home, and that was one of the things she spoke about, right? Creating a journal that you can write every day of the things that you were grateful for. And I just wanted to read my first page just to give you an idea of what you can start doing to actually pull yourself out of those moments, and you can go back and read the things that you are grateful of. It says, gratefulness is anything that brings you joy. If there is something in your life that if taken away from you would cause you to gasp for air, want to be anywhere or anyone but who you are, where you are, then those are things that you are grateful for. It is our job to always remember that the things that matter, and remember to stay thankful that we are blessed with such things that enhances our lives. Go get the chair from here. I start this journal of gratefulness with these factors as its foundation, and remind myself that every day I wake up and I see my husband and 5 kids. I already have my top 7 joys of my life. So how dare I not live in a space of gratefulness? Starting today, I will write down at least 7 things, because me, it's always been my number. See there, once again, 7 things to be grateful for, and watch how my list changes from day to day. Because when you remember to live in the space of gratefulness, God and the universe will continue to give you more things to add to the list. I challenge myself to run out of pages before this year is up, and I'm starting on this day, Saturday, September 17th, 2016. Be a witness to watching how gratefulness can and will change the trajectory of your and my life. Precious Paulin, right? And so I always start with something so I can have a foundation of what I was thinking at the time, because half the time I don't even know what I was thinking, but I just know that it had a point. But I just wanted to share my first day before we go into this, and I started with that. Number 1, waking up this morning. Isn't that always a reason to be grateful? Number 2, waking up next to the love of my life. That was something to be always grateful to. Number 3, saying good morning to Essence and feeling the love. Saying good morning to Neve and feeling the love. Number 5, saying good morning to Serenity and feeling the love. Because you got to write each person down, each thing down as an individual feeling, because they are. Saying good morning to Rondell Jr. and feeling the love. Saying good morning to Ray Vaughn and feeling the love. Spending a wonderful night with my family and friends celebrating Gerard's 35th birthday. That's funny. Even more grateful that the love of my life pours the TV until I finish writing my gratefulness. LOL. I don't remember that. To have a love like this. She don't remember because I do so many. She just. Yeah, and that's why you write it down and write everything that I do. Nobody overlook everything you do. To have a love like this, life can't get much better than this. I challenge you, life. And that was the first day. And so on and so forth, right? And so I want you to think about that. And at the end of the day, we all forget to be grateful of the stuff that we get every day. Your perspective. Okay, I'm lying. Your perspective, at the end of the day, we all lose value of what we have when we're complaining about something else. Because if you're complaining about one thing and you got a million other things that they did right, then you're ungrateful. So, you know what I'm saying? So the same idea is, like I'm saying, gratefulness is built in the moments when you control that emotional feeling to feel attacked or feel rejected or feel neglected or to feel like life isn't where you see that is when you grab onto those grateful moments and remember the things that make your world go round, and remember the things that fill you up, and remember the things that continue to rise your spirit, because we can easily complain. We have all got comfortable complaining. That's just the story of life. But how can we do something different so that we are not comfortable complaining? We can start by creating a journal. And so I'm hoping that everybody who watches this today finds a notebook, finds something, and starts to begin. Create right in the first page what gratefulness means to you. Mm-hmm. And then start that day with the different things. And it doesn't matter how many numbers you choose to start with on that day. I can assure you that I started with 10, but every day I woke up and I looked for, because I was being intentional, I went out of my way to look for things throughout that day to write, because every night is when I wrote in my book. And so every day, instead of looking for problems, I was looking for things to put in my book. I was looking for things to lift me up. And I know that it definitely must have carried me through 2016, because I finished the book. And so what I committed to in the beginning, I consistently finished. So every single day, it ended in November 30th of 2016, this book. And so now I know that I have a 2. Anytime I'm in that place, I can go back and get the reminders of what grace looks like, what gratefulness looks like, and how life ain't as bad as we think it is. It's only as bad as we show, I guess, what would you say? It's only as bad as we call it, right? Because it's up to you. You have a comment, young man.
I can't.
That was Sophia saying.
You said life ain't hard.
Oh, that was Sophia. Hey, Sophia. Huh?
Life is hard.
I said life wasn't hard.
I think you said what you make it.
I mean, yeah, I'm saying what makes life harder is the tools we don't use. It's harder to dig a ditch in the backyard without a shovel.
It's hard. It's hard when you don't know who you are. Once you know who you are, how things work, it becomes a lot easier on you. But it's the frustrating part of not knowing. People really don't know how life really works. Like even us, I'm gonna give people an example. Like when you're starting a business, or when God picks you, sends you here. When you come here on assignment, right? Okay. A lot of people don't know what their assignment is. A lot of people are in their assignments and don't even know that they're in their assignments. That's how crazy. That's what I mean by getting to know yourself. Once you get to know yourself and who you are and what you're capable of, and you begin to touch people. You begin to touch people because of who you are. Do y'all understand that? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That might have went over some people's head, but once you understand who you are, you will begin to touch people, because people need to see a sermon and not hear a sermon. I'm gonna go back to that again. When people see you overcome things, see you start off, see you in messed up situations and you overcome it, that's a sermon, bro. That helps people. That motivates some people. A lot of people watch me. I didn't even know, man. People calling me, man, I love the show. You and your wife be on there, da da da, and da da da. A lot of people know me from, a lot of people know me from back. I was about 4 or 5 different people growing up. See, I can be honest about that though. I was 4 or 5. I'm one person now. But growing up, I was 4 or 5 people. I was the good kid when I was with the 100 Black Men and the Police Explorers. I was a hood kid when I was hanging around in my neighborhood. I was the athlete when I was in school, student athlete, good kid, never got in trouble, got suspended one time my senior year. Fight my senior year, that's the only time I got suspended. I was, when I go meet people's parents, I was the guy, I got 3.5, knowing I got a 1.9, 2.2. They're not gonna check your grades. What your grades look like? I got 3.6. They're like, oh wow, yeah, I played football. Oh wow, I know how to wow. I was a weasel. That's what they call me. I was a weasel. I would weasel my way into situations, and I could also weasel my way out. I mean, I just had that gift. So I didn't come to realize that it's called charisma. I'm very charismatic. I didn't know that. But that's just me being myself. Once I started being myself, some people understood. Some people like it. Some people don't. It's cool. It doesn't matter who don't like it. You're here for the people that need you. Yeah. Some of the people that need you ain't gonna like what you have to say, but it needs to be said or it needs to be done.
And then I was about to say, and then you have to be grateful of the transformation. That's why we're saying abracadabra. You have to be grateful of what you became from all those lessons, because it was necessary, right? Because we're always changing and transforming through life, right? But you, like you said, you don't want to be a chameleon. You want to be a butterfly, right? And there's a difference, there is a big difference in just turning with the moment or turning through the moment, right? Because the moments were created to develop you into who you are becoming, which is why I always say you are arriving every single day. But if you never sit down and be conscious of the road that you took to get here, you can never give instructions.
Oh, that sounds good. That sounds really good. But how is the ride? Let's talk about that ride.
Oh, the ride is rough.
Why?
The ride is rough because...
What did you have to go through?
What did I have to go through?
Okay, me going through this ride that you're talking through, to my purpose, to life, to gratitude. To me, I help a lot of people, and I thought that because I help people that I will be showing some sort of gratitude or appreciation, and not realizing that the people that I help, I shouldn't be looking for gratitude and appreciation from them. I should be looking for God gonna take care of me. You have to learn that. Don't expect the people that you help. It don't matter what you help them do. Don't expect them to show appreciation and gratitude towards you. Look for God to show his appreciation and gratitude towards you. You understand what I'm saying? And then you knowing that people don't show you gratitude and appreciation, then that should be something that you should try to practice towards other people. That, you understand what I'm saying? Because going through this journey of life, man, when you help, like, people don't really appreciate and gratitude you, but those ain't the ones that you need to worry about, you know, because like I said, God's going to take care of it later. But that's just something that I couldn't understand as a younger person, as a younger man, as a young father, as a brother, as a old son. You know, it's certain things that I couldn't understand why people did things that they did. And, you know, as I got older, I had to realize that, hey, don't stop looking for gratitude, appreciation. Just do what you're supposed to do.
But I think back to piggyback what he's saying is, even with you saying you want, you know, don't expect gratitude or appreciation, I think why you have to sit and write down the things that you know to be so is because
this story. Okay, like today, I was going through pictures, and I seen some pictures of my grandmother. So whenever I see my grandmother, or vice versa, if I see a picture of my grandfather, I automatically think about my grandmother. Or if I see a picture of my grandmother, I automatically think about my grandfather. Now, the two is one, my grandfather is my dad's father. The grandmother is my mom's mother. So it's not even like the grandparents that were married. These are two separate grandparents, but I love them tremendously. I love them both each tremendously. So they're both gone now. They're both gone. But me, like, I was just sitting looking at pictures, and then I started feeling gratitude. Like, I was so happy that I was able to enjoy them in my life growing up. I wish that my kids had grandparents like my grandparents were. And no shade, I ain't trying to do no shade, but it's a different world, it's a different time, so people aren't the same. But I had to understand, I had to grow to understand that as an adult. But younger, I didn't understand that at all. But now I do. You know, it's a different world, it's different times. If my grandfather didn't work, he can go, my grandmother didn't work, we go stay over there for a week, 2 weeks. You didn't have to go to work, nothing, it's different. So I understand that. But me just looking at that picture of gratitude, I'm just bringing up the pipe. My grandfather used to smoke Captain Black. It's tobacco. He had a pipe. He had a corn pipe, though. I got a little pipe. But I just started smoking my pipe today because I was reminiscing and showing gratitude towards my grandparents. And it's stuff like that. I mean, that's a form of gratitude, appreciation. People have people that have been here and they're no longer with you.
Yeah.
But you can still show appreciation, gratitude towards them, even though they're not here. By doing what you're supposed to do. Making them proud. You know how to make somebody proud. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll cut you off. Go ahead.
Where was I? I don't remember what I was about to say. But I think I was talking about...
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I think we were, when I was thinking about the gratitude part, and like you were saying that, sometimes people don't return. That's why I had to write it down. If I didn't do this, trust me, you wouldn't have a movement right now. Because I know also well what it means to be disappointed, what it means to be hurt, what it means to be broken. And we can go through all of those stories, but everybody got our own book of it, right? Because it's the price of admission. It is what it cost you to be here. So that part is what we get stuck at because we get in our feelings, which means we lose that gratitude, because you can be in your feelings for a moment, but the gratitude is what the moment taught you. If you don't allow that situation, that whether it's teaching you about somebody, whether God is showing you who to remove, whether God is showing you who's got your back, how else can God show you but through the experiences that you go through? And so the gratitude is saying, I trust what you took me through, even though it broke me, even though I'm mad, even though I'm pissed off, even though I feel like life is picking on me, I have enough gratefulness in me to be able to say that it's going to get me somewhere, because I can't do nothing with that pain but sit in it and stop showing up. And so because I was able to be distracted by the good things instead of sitting in the bad things, I can be who I am today, having dealt with molestation, having dealt with broken heart, having dealt with liars and cheaters and people who will point their finger, people that you will give. They'll come eat at the table, don't even bring a dish, get a to-go tray, and then you start sitting there and you become ungrateful when you complain to God when you don't know who he called you to be. You become ungrateful when you sit in there and you don't just acknowledge that it is what it is. So by no means does it mean that you aren't affected, that it ain't hard. It means that so the hell what? I know a million people that would give their life for yours. It means that I choose to sit in the advantage point instead of the disadvantage point. Because when I was mad for a second when that damn tent flew, I had to check myself because I had to realize somebody didn't wake up this morning. Somebody's in the midst of the molestation that I was dealing with 40 years, when I was younger, right? Somebody is where you came from. And so to be grateful is to realize the hell with a goddamn tent. The hell with how I feel you hurt me. Because God had to show me myself through your actions. He had to show me if I'm willing to get up for myself. If I say I'm going to choose me and somebody clearly shows me that they came to kill, steal, and destroy and I stayed, then I'm a liar to God. Right? And so it's really being accountable for the who and the what you really say you want and showing up in it. And so do we get pissed off? Yes. Do we forget to be grateful every single day? Which is why it is a conscious decision to say, that happened, but I can turn it around. This is a problem, but it's over now. I could choose to sit in it, which is insanity, or I could choose to be something and do something different because I want something different. And because I know when I wrote down the things, instead of sitting at the things that got at me and was tearing me apart and stopping me from wanting to help the next person, because if I didn't sit in my gratefulness, I couldn't help anybody else past those people that broke me down. Because it was close people. It's your mama, it's your daddy, it's your sisters, it's close people. It's people that you expect to have your back. It's people that you expect to scream for you when nobody else does. And life doesn't work like that. You don't get what you think you deserve. You get what God needs you to go through in order for you to be who he called you to be, because you have no idea what it will require for you to be who you say you want to be. And so I had to do that to you. And I had to see how you reacted.
Because if God appreciates you,
good God Almighty, what else matters?
What does that look like?
Yeah.
What does that look like?
Yeah.
When God shows appreciation towards you, what does that look like?
What does that look like? Yeah. And so that's why we got to show appreciation toward ourselves, so we can say to God, I know it's not perfect, but I'm proving to you that I'm willing to keep on going. I know that I got stuck in my own feelings because I was at a disadvantage point, right? Because how often do we sit at the disadvantage point? We sit at I used to tell myself, I've been through this, I've been through that, and I go sit in the room and they and then Martha will get up and be like, I went through this. I lost a child. And I'm like, who am I to cry about the things that I came out as a whole person? Yeah, my spirit was broken, but most of me is whole. I get to walk out of that situation. I didn't have to think myself into walking. I didn't have to think myself into loving again. I just had to be conscious. So there are so many people who can say, man, how ungrateful are you to be complaining about this or that or that? I mean, yeah, we lost loved ones, but people lose loved ones every day. This morning, I was woken up to a message in which 25 people died yesterday on Tuesday alone in freaking, Cali. And I was looking at the numbers, a 15-year-old boy. I mean, and it was just somebody posted that. And I just was like, the world that we're living in right now is because we are so much stuck in pain. And pain is the opposite of gratefulness. Gratefulness is the power that we speak of transforming into, right? Gratefulness is that space. Mm-hmm. And so what are the things that we get broken in that it's hard for us to see why we can be grateful? For a long time, I couldn't understand why I should be grateful of why I went through molestation. Like, what was the point of that? Why how can I be okay with that? But you know what I found out later, because hindsight is 2020. Because of what I went through as a child, I became the mother that I am. Yeah, it was overprotective. It was overbearing because I was moving out of my pain, but it served a purpose for what God had for me or who He called me to be. Right?
What kind of advice could you give?
As
The
far as
number one advice that I could give grown-ups now, listen to your kids, man. You have to believe your kids.
Yeah.
Always, when it comes to your children, always overreact. Because you can apologize for overreacting.
Yes.
You got me?
Yes.
But it's harder to apologize when they've been through that abuse and you let it go on for 10, 20 years. Yeah. It's harder. It's a resentment there. There's a misunderstanding that, it's a lot of mental.
It's a lot of brokenness. Yeah.
Brokenness, mental stuff you have to deal with when you're in situations like that. Like, and it'll stay with you as long as you live.
Yeah. It will.
So my advice is to listen, man. Listen to your children. Something don't feel right. You get listen. That feeling you get, that feeling don't never steer you wrong, man. Don't know what to say. No, doubt means don't. That's what they say. If you doubt it, if you ain't sure, that means don't.
Yeah.
If you live by that, if you live by just by that, doubt means don't. I'm telling you, man, you save yourself a lot of trials and tribulations and stuff you have to go through by being wise. Wise is learning from other people's mistakes.
And I'm gonna tell you, and you're able to forgive. The thing that helped me forgive is that phrase that hit me some time ago when I say we often deal with the tree and we never deal with the roots. And so the tree was the problem, but the roots is so much more deeper, right? Because it's called generational curses. And that's just the pain that we continue to pass on. That is the shame that we hide behind so we don't address the different issues and real life problems that people are dealing with, right? And we camouflage it and we blame it on everything else, and we don't address what really happened. We never address how people were hurt, and people don't honestly just apologize, right? And so I think the biggest thing that helps, if somebody could, is to just say sorry, right?
Let me go back. No, you can't just. It ain't just saying sorry, man. Apology is
that's the first step. We got to do steps.
That's an action word,
right?
Your words mean nothing when you apologize if you don't back it up with actions.
Yeah.
You understand? You can't apologize for talking about me and then still talk about me.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
What's the name just say? It is a repeated new action that you take in order to change how I trust you different, right? And so if this was you, I can give you a new chance, but I'm still going to treat you according to time and how you show up as the new you, right? Because 3 days don't count, you know?
3 days don't count.
3 days don't count. And so it's about owning it, owning the pain that you cause, right? Owning the intention. But my thing, which is why I say to be grateful, is that sometimes they'll never own it. Do not give yourself away to somebody because they never owned it. You get stuck. And that's why that's why it's so important to understand that to be mad at somebody else, for me, is to be mad at God. Just because I don't deal with you don't mean I'm mad at you. It just means that I have to choose the environment and a life that I know is going to nurture who I want to be. And so it doesn't mean that I hate you, I don't love you. It just means that I know what my body needs. I know what my soul needs. And so I'm intentional about what I bring in my space. And we got to be intentional like that. So it's not a hate thing. It's just I got to be in control of my destiny and allowing things to come in that don't occupy or is not even working on those parts of themselves. That's still up to you. It's up to you to decide and dictate who's in your life and what that looks like. And it doesn't matter what anybody got to say about how you living, right? Because mama to you may be somebody different from me. A daddy to you may be different from you. A sister to you may be different from me. And so you don't get to judge somebody's perspective, but we are grateful that we can at least take the time to heal ourselves through those pains. I'm grateful that God allows me to not get stuck in how people did me, but it allowed me to get past it so that I can show up, because you cannot show up if you are still bombarded by who ain't and who can't. You might complain here and there, but you got to really let that go in order to be able to move, you know? And honey, sometimes when people go on, you realize how much stuff you was really carrying. You realize how much stuff you didn't get over. And so sometimes God will bring it back into your face to let you see if you passed it or not, right? He'll bring it back to you to see if you passed that test, if you did that work, if you're actually ready for that next level of you. So the next level don't mean this, it means you. It means you growing better, you getting more comfortable with life just being life, and stop getting stuck on who did what and who didn't do what. Just be able to realize that you are your magic.
Because if you think about it, anybody that you feel has done you wrong, or just backstabbed you, or whatever, however you want to call it, you feel that they did you wrong, right? You think that you're mad, right, at the situation or them or whatever, but you're really not mad, man. I had to realize that I thought I was mad at people. I wasn't mad at how they did me or how I allowed them to do me. I was hurt.
That's the word.
So when you're going through life, man, you're going to have to deal with that hurt.
Yeah.
That hurt is what makes life hard.
Yes, that's good.
Now, how do you overcome the hurt? It's a lot of ways to overcome the hurt, but you're going to have to pay for that. Go ahead and book you a session with Precious, the soul coach, Precious P. Word. She can break it down to you in 30 minutes or less for $197.
That was a good one, baby. I like that.
You want to learn how to deal with that hurt? DM Precious $197. Best hour that'll change your life.
And you know what? And I'm grateful for the people who I know life has been changed. I'm grateful for the people who, not because of recognition, but just to look at their life being different, to be the abracadabra for some of my dear friends to look at them and family.
You can look at me.
Oh, Rondell, right? I didn't want to put you out there.
$197 I spent. Well, I spent a little bit more, but it's all good. She living. I want to live in life, coach.
But and I'm so excited when I get to see transformations. I'm so excited when I see people become so confident that they don't even need me no more, right? That they even forgot that I said something. I think that's the biggest gift of all. And it's also a hurting gift, right? Because still you give, and so, but it is a reminder of why you do what you do. You do it because God said so. You do it because that is your responsibility. You do it because that is the mission. Because I can imagine how many people we don't know about that Jesus touched. How many people you don't know about that you touch? How many people you don't know about that you touch? Because people love to come in record numbers when you're gone. Oh my God. People don't take off. Come on now.
He's more known now than he was when he was walking around.
Come on now. And that's a fact. But that's your soul print. That is the thing you leave that people don't even recognize until is no longer there, right? And that's why we sit in gratefulness, because it's so easy to forget about the treasures that are right in front of us, because it's always there. And so death has a way of bringing people out to say the most amazing things about somebody when they're gone. When you're hoping they're in heaven listening, when you're hoping they got a response. But life is showing up and knowing that you did it because it's who you were, and that was enough. And because that's enough, that allows you to get to enjoy just everybody. When I think of Rondell and all of those kids that he has touched, I know he has no idea the levels of people who were changed because he showed up, because he has been coaching kids before we had some, but when Essence was just a baby. And he had all the boys at the house, and they was all, and I could see them to this day when they come and they greet him as grown people, because we're 40 and 41 now. And so when they come, they're like, man, Coach, oh, I miss y'all, because time comes later, right? When I looked at Melissa's testimony, when she went back to her teacher, who after 25 years, or was it 20 years to the date, Melissa? It might have been 20 years to the date. 20 years to the day, or you came back to show her that because she showed up for you when you were a student, that you were able to write that amazing book with so many different people because of who she was. And so I had to realize that sometimes you don't know. You don't know how you're infecting people. Why? Because some people don't know. Oprah don't know what she did for me, but she did it because she showed up. And so you don't know what you're doing for somebody else, but if you could just be grateful, even through that hurt, even through that pain, and show up anyway, you can become the evidence of those abracadabra moments. You can become the evidence, because we don't want to date again because somebody hurt us. We don't want to get married again because we've been hurt. We don't want to get another job because we've been hurt. There are so many things that stop us from going past our, it's the hurt. It is the hurt. And so we got to heal through that pain. We got to really heal through the hurt in order to still show up, because it is that lack of healing that makes us say, life is so bad for me. I'm ungrateful, and I just don't even care. And then I just stop showing up because of what he did or what she did or what they did instead of what God did. And what God did was set you up to be who you are, which is why he wrote them in the story the way he did. And so we got to embrace to be grateful of the story that's been written, to be grateful of the story that is real, man, because we're real. We're real life stories.
You got to look at it too. A lot of people don't know. A lot of people do know. But you got to understand, we are two totally different people that coexist and work very well together.
Fight all the time.
Work very, I'm more edgy than she is. I take risks. I will go. She's not that. She's more. So she gave me the softer side of life. I gave her the edgier side of life.
Yes.
So together it made us equally yoked.
Equally yoked. It gave us balance, right?
We both were soft-hearted people. We would be getting drugged out here. We already getting drugged, and we half and half.
You know what that made me think? I can honestly say when we first met, he used to be like, oh my God, you're always doing for that was his complaint. And I realized that most times I got into a relationship with people, they always had the same complaint because I didn't see it. Why? Because it was just so natural for me, even though it was killing me. But you get the people that love you there to see you crying when nobody else does. Why? They see you going through and dealing when you hide that stuff, right? And so there was so many things that he had to dig to find, because we have so much makeup on our soul. My soul was made up, honey. It was so made up. It looked perfect, but it was broken. It was broken, and the perfect part of it was my ability to get up after the storm. That's what was perfect. That's why I say you are perfect if you're getting up. That's the perfect piece. And so he gave me the opportunity to not just get up, but to take care of what God gave me, because I was milly-nilly with it, right? I was just throwing it out here, throwing it out there, and then I was being harmed in the process. So he had to teach me to be like, no. God don't mean give, because I was confused on what it meant to be in relationship, what it meant to actually be a part. It meant that you would give, even when you didn't have. I had to learn that. I had to learn to love myself first. I had to learn to put myself first. I had to learn to get up past that, and I had to learn what I didn't know, to apply what I needed, because God gave me what I needed. I just needed to be in action for my attraction. And so when he says everything you need, you already have, you just don't know the value in what he's given you. And only time lets you see it. only time that you see value. That old car ain't no antique until it has served over time and committed to quality. And now you're like, man, that's a good car. That car has always kept me. That car has taken me from here to there. And that's the story, right? And so you build trust relationships by how people show up in your story. And it teaches you how to be grateful through it all, right? What you was going to say, baby? Get a soul coach with the soul coach herself, life changer. Come on. Thank you, Nakia. Let me tell you something. Kia will tell you. I'm going to have a testimonial day. Man, listen, I thank God for you in my life. The many years of soul coaching. And I was soul coaching before I knew what it was, right? I didn't know what it was. I'm just talking to you about your life. Even though I was going through in mine. I was dealing with molestation. Me and Kia was like this. She didn't know nothing. You know what I'm saying? Me and Aunt Karen was like this. She didn't know nothing. Because we suffer in silence every single day of our life. And my justification for that was, at the end of the day, when I'm in this moment, I want it to feel me. When I'm in that moment, I'm going to deal with it. But I felt like if I would throw all the moments together, I would never get peace. And so those were the peaceful moments in my life. So you don't even know how you're showing up for people, right? You don't know how you're refilling people. But what you are doing is you're in action for who God called them to be, right? So I'm going to replace this. Even though you're going with that, you'll never have more than you can bear, because I need to take you through this way for who you're called to be. But I promise you that I will give you somebody that you can lean on. I will give you somebody that will show you yourself. I will give you somebody to help you really heal authentically. And so life is about saying, I'm really ready to heal.
Anything you lose will be replaced
Aunt
by
Karen
something
says,
great.
I appreciate you and the family more than you can ever imagine. Your anointing is blessing me for sure. And you say it every day. And there are so many people who actually remind me of that, right? And they keep me going. They keep me coming every day. They keep the fire going, because it feeds me. It makes me feel like my pain is not in vain, but instead for others' gain. It makes me feel like it was worth it. Every day now, I know that it was worth it. It was worth those tears. It was worth that pain. It was worth everything I went through to be here. And so hindsight is 2020. I just want to assure you, don't know where you're going. And to be grateful is to know that you're going. That's all. What do you want to add to that? Because look, we're already at our hour.
What's the name? Good night, God.
Precious pour down, God, get you some pep in your step. Yes, great comment. Girl, you got those sayings, right? Look, that's an easy thing about the poet, honey. She could find some words. Crazy the things you have no idea what people are going through. You really don't. For years I didn't know what Kia was going through. And we were each other's person. So what is that you are so comfortable in joy, but we are afraid to share pain? Now we can share complaining, but we're not comfortable with our pain, right? We're not comfortable with those scars. Why? Because we don't want people to judge our insecurities. Those are the insecure parts of you that you don't want to be judged because you're sensitive about your shit, right? That's the proper word to use. And so we hide and we suffer in silence because we don't think people will understand our pain. We don't think people will understand our journey. We don't think people will understand what it took for us to arrive. And so we show up as the picture and we forget to tell the story. But we got to understand that to tell the story is to give God the glory. It is to prove your abracadabra. And so when I was able to tell more of my story, the more I saw the magic in me through his eyes, through your eyes, through somebody else. And so God said, you'll see the magic that is you when you just give a little bit of what you went through so they can say, wow, look what you did. Wow, look what I can do. So some people are sitting where you once was, and that gratefulness allows them to meet you where you now are. And I think that's the message behind today's whole thing is to be grateful for where you are because you're going somewhere. Even though it doesn't look like it, you're going somewhere. It's leading to you to your better you. And so, we got to grab our card because we are already at the 59-minute hour. So well worth it. Yes, Kia. Thank you for showing up. You are welcome. And last but not least, thank you for going even when you didn't feel like it. That is the powerful thing, right? When you didn't feel like it. But you knew it mattered, right? And so I thank God for giving me whatever willpower he gave me to show up anyway, because eyes have not seen, ears have not heard, nor has it entered into the sight of man what God can do with you when you become grateful. And so we are going to pick a card. And so since we have a guest, and I love Rondell, when you gonna come on more often with me? I love to not be talking to myself, honey. You guys need to start joining me so we can have some conversation, some different perspective. Because while I love my perspective, I need all of us to be accountable. So as I say, today was a day of gratefulness, Lord, that we would find out that we could sip from the cup being half full instead of half empty, that we can find joy in every piece of life, that we can find acceptance in the things that we've gone through, because the I am that you gave us is where you're leading us to. And so today, God, we want to know, what is the I am that you would want us to know as we speak of being grateful in this season. With eyes closed, he picks up this card. And today's word is, I am sufficient. Come on now. I am sufficient. Sufficient being enough. Sufficient meaning that what you think you don't have, you have more than enough in order to what? To be qualified for who you were called to be. And so I'm grateful, because even with the things that I think I'm lacking, I'm still sufficient. I am still whole. I am still enough. Even with the hole in my soul, he still fills me up. And so why I have a leak, oh my God, it's not pouring out anymore. And so how we can fill up.
Wait a minute.
Oh, come on. What you got? You done picked
You're
another card?
sufficient, right?
That's the
you
other.
Gotta be, in order to do this, you gotta be sufficient. In order for you to be yearning for greatness, you need to be sufficient. You need to feel like you're sufficient. You need to tell yourself you're sufficient. You need to tell yourself you're enough.
Come on now.
So tell yourself you're enough, and you'll be on your way to greatness.
On your way.
Start acting like you're enough. Walk around and be enough. You got me? What you mean be enough? Learn how to tell people no. You know what situation you ain't supposed to be in and which ones you should be in. Tell that dude no, he can't live here no more. Get them people out your house, man. That's it. You don't help them long enough. They need it. They ain't trying to do nothing. Get them up out of there. Okay?
Who you getting kicked out today?
Can't get to your greatness, yo. You can't get to your greatness.
So he loves to always get a second card.
Straight.
And so I am yearning for greatness. And so
get your business straight, man. You can't help nobody if you ain't straight.
So as we end, it is a relay race, and somebody is relying on you. And so you got to show up. You got to turn your heartbeat into a soul beat in order to leave your soul print. Because the fingerprint, oh my God, it tells us what we got wrong in this world. But the soul print, it tells us what we got right. And what God got right is you. And so please, yes, Kia, yes, Aunt Karen, y'all put, I am sufficient. That is what I need to see in that. I am yearning for greatness. I want you to know that you can never turn on anybody else's light, but you can provide enough light for them to find their switch. And so is your responsibility to stay lit in this world so somebody can find their way out of the darkness. The reason why I know you can do it is because you are sufficient. And that's because you're yearning for greatness. And so in order to live out those things, it is to be grateful for the you are today, because every day you are arriving into who God has called you to be. And so love yourself first, and remember to take care of those souls. You've been listening to the Queen of Soul Stirring Inspiration, Miss Precious Paulin and Chef Ron. Want to tell them some one last moment, anything before we go?
Be true to yourself.
Be true to you.
You are the inspiration.
Come on.
Don't
now.
be an inspirational speaker. You are the inspiration. Be
Come
the
on.
inspiration.
Come on now. Be the inspiration.
Be the inspiration.
We love you. We're gonna have an edgy topic later because we just been having some good conversations in here. That it's not no power hour conversations. It's some real talk. So we gonna later on tonight. I don't know if we'll be in the chairs or just sitting on the bed, but we're gonna bring back perspective with the Paulins. We have been getting so many messages about getting that out, and so we're gonna get back to that because God got us on assignment, us all, and so we got to get in action for our attraction. Love you guys, and we'll see you later on tonight and definitely tomorrow at 12. Tomorrow's Friday already. Who wants to be the Power Hour guest? Hit me up if you want to tell the world how you have tapped into your abracadabra and became your magic. See you later. Bye-bye.